There is no way to know the exact second your life changes forever. You can only begin to know that moment by looking in the rear view mirror. And trust me when I tell you that. And trust me when I tell you that you never ever see it coming. What is the simplest way to get realized for a person who's half here, half there? I'm trying to visualize. I hope it's figurative speech. Half here, half there, okay. Who does not know, will it be yoga or bhakti or mantra or service? What is the test of the right path? That is the question. That what is the best way? Should you be chanting mantras? Or should you be serving people? Or should you be sitting still and just building your one-pointed concentration and therefore becoming an expert meditator? Or should you just be lazing around and doing nothing? Really, what to do when you can't decide which path is the right for me? If you think, I've attended Kundalini retreat, I've been to that meditation camp, I even did the Gayatri camp, but I don't know still what to do. Well, the thing is, the test of the right path, there is nothing called the test of the right path. What is important is, where are you actually committed? What suits your temperament? And the strange thing is, if you're the lazy kind, nothing will suit your temperament. Only for a little while. 30 minutes of everything will feel pretty good. Beyond that, too difficult, too hard, can't do it. If you are the disciplined kind, you will succeed in any path. Even material, ultra-material, or spiritual, or just absolute renunciation. But if you are lazy, none of these will work. Because ultimately it's you who has to walk on this path. This book that I was speaking about earlier in the Hindi discourse, this author shares a story of this Indian cricketer, Navjot Singh Sidhu. He used to be a cricketer. In fact, I remember watching him play when I was a child. He belonged to the same town that I was born in. And my elder brother used to play cricket. And I had to be dragged along sometimes because I was too young to be left home alone. So my punishment was I had to go to that cricket thing and watch him play. And there, Sidhu would often be playing, and I vaguely remember always hearing, oh, he's hitting sixes. And I did not have much interest in cricket. So this writer, Prakash Iyer, he shares the story of this cricketer. That Navjot Singh Sidhu was born in an affluent family. And his father would make sure that he got up at 5 in the morning and went out on his jog and sports and things like that. Particularly just get some blood flowing, go out jogging in the morning. And because he was rich, they had many servants at home. So he would get up at 5 and just put some money in the hands of the servants and say, tell them that I've gone out for a jog. And he would go back in and sleep in his room. 2 hours later, he would take a towel, splash some water, wet towel, and wet himself, and then come from the back door. And his father will say, "Oh, you're all sweaty. Great, you've come from jogging." "Yes, Dad, come from jogging indeed." And the father will say, "You must rest now. Go get some sleep." And then say, "Yes, Dad, your word is final, of course." And then he would go sleep for a couple of hours more. And then in 1983, he played a match where he played, I don't know how many balls, I forget the figures now, but he barely scored anything. And one of the journalists wrote about him that Navjot Singh Sidhu is the strokeless wonder. He played so many balls, but he didn't score practically nothing. And his father, next day, just left that newspaper close to Sidhu, just to make him feel, look. And his father was greatly disappointed. When he opened the paper, he read that article about himself. He was totally shattered and really devastated. So he took a pair of scissors, cut out that article, pasted it in his room in one of his almirahs, so that every time he would open, he would see what a failure he has been. And that motivated him so much that he promised that he would hit 300 sixes every single day. And that's how I actually remember hearing that exact word. He comes every day and hits so many sixes. And that club used to be called Maharani Club, and then later it was renamed to Dhruv Pandava or something club. Now, he would still bribe people, but not so that he wouldn't be asked to get up at 5 a.m. In fact, his father would go in his room at 5 to wake him up. He wouldn't be there. He was already in the ground, playing cricket, hitting shots. So he would still pay people money, but it would be to many of the young bowlers who would be there, so that they would keep bowling him even late into the night. And he made it his life's mission that I'm going to hit 300 sixes every single day. And that, from there, when 4 years later, he was called back into the Indian team, he really did amazing. He transformed himself. And everybody was shocked to see that transformation. All I'm trying to say is, it does not matter which path you pick. What matters is how determined you are to walk that path. Are you going to give up? Or are you going to really see yourself through? In a different book written by somebody who was wrongly convicted for 2 murders he never actually committed, and then he was later released 30 years later after being on the death row for 27 years. He wrote this thing, I think the book's name is The Sun Does Shine, but he wrote this quote, and I have it here for you. There is no way to know the exact second your life changes forever. You can only begin to know that moment by looking in the rear view mirror. And trust me when I tell you that. And trust me when I tell you that you never ever see it coming. And it's so incredibly true. You just don't know What is going to become the most defining moment of your life? What is going to transform you, change you forever? There is no way of predicting it. There is no way of knowing it. You just have to keep digging. We don't know at which particular blow the water's gonna gush forth, fountain forth from the ground. You can't give up. You can never fail until you give up. So there is nothing called this path or that path. All that's called is, are you still working or not? If you're still working, if you're still at it, you're good. Transformation is happening. That defining moment will arrive at some point in time. It may not be grand. It may not be what you thought it would be. But that's not to say it wouldn't come. It's the nature of time to move. The wheel of time is constantly moving. And we just don't know when this wheel, the cogs, will get locked in the right angle at the perfect moment into the cogs or gears of your life. There is no way of knowing that. But we've got to keep trying. And that is why somewhere it becomes very important that you actually enjoy the journey. Not completely. If you're enjoying all the time, you're having too much fun. Nobody likes that around you. There's got to be some training, some hard work. Perfection comes from repeating something you already know. Keep repeating it mindfully, and you will keep perfecting it. But growth comes from challenging yourself repeatedly, not repeating yourself mindfully. And there's a huge difference between the two. Every time you are challenged, you rise a little, you grow a little. And as they say, well, if it kills you, what can we do? What is so great we are doing on this planet that we are absolutely needed? If it kills you, maybe somebody's happy other than you. So be it. Don't go and do something stupid, all right? All I mean to say is that you've got to keep going. You've got to keep moving. And that's how you break free of your conditioning. That's how you leave behind all the things that clamped you down to begin with. This man used to work in a hotel, and he was fired from the hotel because of the COVID downturn, low occupancy. And he was hired at this funeral center. But even there, they had to fire him because no matter how much they explained it to him, whenever anybody would come that, with their loved one getting ready for the funeral, he'd say, is it smoking or non-smoking? And the funeral director told him repeatedly, look, that's not the terminology we use here. We call it cremation or burial. It's not smoking or non-smoking.